This is a Hot Pie Original.
Hi, and welcome to the Amy Edwards Show. I'm your host, Amy Edwards. So excited. Today, we are talking to Céline Remy and Kevin Anthony. They are sex, relationship, and love coaches, and they are so good. I learned so much. It doesn't matter if you're with a partner or not. This is 100% worth listening to if you're interested in sex and love and even loving yourself. So I got to be on their podcast called Love Lab on January 14th episode. So highly recommend listening to that. We talked about how to love yourself and have hot sex after divorce. And it was not only so much fun, but it was so enlightening talking to them. They truly model what they put out there, like with their relationship. And today we talked to them about their habits, their very practical things that they do every single day to stay connected with each other. And it's such valuable information because you can tell like their relationship is super solid. So I am just so excited that we get to share that today and listen to them. You can find them at CelineRemy.com. That's CelineRemy.com. Or she's on Instagram or Facebook. They both are at Céline Remy, My Love. And you can sign up. They have a ton of free content. And y'all, I have to share this really quick. I was looking at her website, CelineRemy.com, and like, check out my most popular videos. Some of her most popular videos are how to give the best hand job, which I don't think I know I don't think I know that. I need to watch that video. And how to make women ejaculate. Like, okay, fine. Let's watch it all. 7 masturbation tips for men. So I don't, apparently men need help with that. That's a surprise. But anyway, highly recommend listening for today and listening to the interview today. Anyway, I think you're going to love it just like I did. So let's get to today's episode. All right. Here we are. So, I'm always talking my habits, talking about what I'm doing, talking about like all these habits you can build and be your best self and everything. And I feel like I have been slacking off in my own life. So I got to get real about that. Let's talk about it. I have fallen in love, as some of you may know, and I'm in a relationship now, and we're living together. And I just find myself falling out of my regular habits, but maybe I'm forming new ones. And talking to Céline and Kevin today made me think that I can be more conscious about the new ones that I'm forming. And that's fine. But in my daily, like regular life, like what I'm used to, which is the chick that gets up at like 6 in the morning or 5:30 in the morning and gets a ton of shit done, like I am not as tapped into that. I'm staying in bed longer. I'm like hustling to get stuff done. And so I was like having a long look at myself and thinking, am I slacking off? But I'm not sure I am. I feel like I'm getting more tapped into the moment and more present. And that's bringing me into a more efficient way of doing things. So I had a little peek behind the curtain, thanks to my partner, of Joe Rogan and what he does and how he works. And people call him the hardest working person. If you talk to anybody, they're going to be like, he works harder than anybody else. But I got kind of a view inside how he works. And I think he works really just smart and efficiently and in the moment and clear and present. And one of the things that I have been doing and saying out loud for the last, I think maybe not quite a year. I probably started in March. So I do Reiki on myself every day. I have kept that up because it's quick and easy. So I stand in front of a mirror and I do some Reiki, which I am a Reiki master, but I don't believe you have to be a Reiki master. Kevin today in the interview talks about that life force energy or chi or whatever you want to call it that flows through all of us. So I believe that you can just tap into that. So I stand in front of a mirror. I tap into that. I call it Reiki. I channel that, but I think that you could just stand in front of a mirror and really spend a second to tap into some energy that you might feel flowing down into you. I have modified the Reiki mantra. I don't know it. I can't remember it because I modified it for myself. I don't want to say the negative words. It's something like, I will not worry, is the first one. And I was like, I'm not even going to say that. I'm not going to say I will not worry, because what if the universe only hears worry and then you're worried, right? So I say 4 things. And I've put these on my Instagram, but I'll put it on again, or I'll put a link in the notes. I say, just for today, it's good to focus on just today. Just for today, I am at peace. Just for today, I show appreciation and gratitude. Just for today, I'm kind to all living things, including myself. And just for today, they say, I will work hard. And I've changed it to, I will work easy. So I'm like, well, maybe I've actually been channeling this working easy thing. And I really, coming into this interview today, I've been with my kids. I had a meeting about like my will and like to redo that. I had some big things kind of on my plate in the last week. And I felt like, oh my God, what am I going to talk about on my podcast? I'm not fully prepared. I need to be better at this. I need to, those need tos, those shoulds and all that, rather than trusting in the moment. So this came up. This came up so suddenly when I was like, that's exactly it. That's exactly what I need to talk about. Can we use those meditation practices and those little practices that we're doing to facilitate being more clear and present in the moment, and thus working easier? So when I went to meditate this morning, I sat with that, and suddenly it just came to me. It was like, work smarter, work more efficiently, work more presently. Tap into, you know what I'm going to say? Trust, right? And trusting your own voice, trusting your own message, trusting that you already know, right? Another thing that I've taken out of my vocabulary, this is a little crazy, but I've taken out, I don't know how I'm going to do that. Like when you go, I'm going to make that money, but I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. No, take that out. Take it out. What if you just try it as an experiment, like taking it out? That's what I've done. So I used to think like, I'm going to do it, but I don't know how. No, you know what? You do know how, because if you're going to do it, somehow you do know how. You just may not know that you know how quite yet, or you may not have actualized your know-how quite yet, but it's in there floating around, rattling around. So know how, take it out. I do know how. And I've just changed that. I've changed it to, I do know how. So even thinking of this today, I went down a little bit of a, negative mind rabbit hole where I was thinking like, oh God, I'm not prepared. What am I going to talk about? How am I going to, form this into a cohesive podcast that makes sense? And then, you know what? I sat in my meditation today, not even for that long. I did it for, I think, probably 9 minutes. I've been doing a lot of hape, which is a tobacco from, I think they get it in Peru. It's really super ground up and like you blow it up your nose. You can do it to yourself. I know. Check it out. It's like HAPE or rape, it's also called. And I've been doing that and it drops me in pretty fast. And so I think I did that in the first minute and then just dropped in for about 9 minutes. And this came to me really quickly. And I just felt like I got super clear. And just cultivating that practice of getting clear and letting your thoughts fall away really does facilitate clear thought throughout the day, even though it seems counterintuitive because you're like, oh no, I need to think these things in order to know them later and to handle them. No, not necessarily. Actually, not at all. And hopefully I'm making total sense right now. Actually, I trust that I am. So anyway, also, if we're going to take things out of our vocabulary, this is what we talked about today with Céline and Kevin, or one of the many wonderful things that we talked about with them, is this working hard. Like I do in my Reiki mantra that I say every day. Can you take out hard work in your relationships, in your own work? Can you reframe it to think of it as easy, to think of it as in flow, to think of it as all coming together and to trust that? I mean, it sounds really great, doesn't it? So why not just all of this? I kind of view as an experiment. Like, what if we do? What if I view it as easy? What if I just call it that? What's going to happen? Does it get easier? Maybe. And one of the things that I was concerned about with this was, am I going too easy on myself? Which is a funny thought, right? Am I going too easy on myself? I was like, maybe I'm just letting myself off the hook too easily. Maybe I'm just like coasting around in life. But isn't that kind of what we want? Don't we want to go easier on ourselves? Just like I would go easy up. I don't know. I guess I'm hard on my children to a certain extent, or they're hard on me. But that's my children. I'm going to set that aside. I'm easy on them too, in a lot of ways. Like if they were to beat themselves up or something, I'm like, why are you doing that? Right? I would approach it with love. I would approach it with ease. And what about to our close relationships, to our friends? Are we really hard on our friends? I mean, do you want to stay in friendships where they're really hard on you? I don't know. I don't think I do. I mean, maybe, yes, that's not to say we don't want to be in relationships that push us to be our better self, relationships that inspire us, right? And relationships that hear us and help us be our best selves. I think that's a little bit different than hard on you, right? When they're hard on you, that's not fun. In fact, I know someone who was telling me a story about someone who was hard on him and telling him how much work this was going to be for him to understand and come to this. And he was so turned off, and he was like, none of that appealed to me. And I get that. It doesn't really. Our human nature wants to be happy and in flow. And the more taste we get of that, the more we experience that, the more it can snowball and continue. And then what if relationships are easy? Yes, we have challenges. And yes, we have things we have to work through and we have to come together on, but can we change our mindset around it? I mean, that's what this is. It's a reframe. It's a mindset change. All right. I think I've rambled on long enough about that and you get the point, but I'm getting stronger at it. And I think I'm just getting stronger at that and going to allow this grand experience of an experiment, this grander experiment, flowing with myself and going easier on myself. Even today for this, usually I'm like, I have to shower. I have to figure out what I'm going to wear. And I have to make up my face completely because I'm going to be on camera now. Unlike podcasts of yore where I did not have myself filmed. And you know what? I did make up my face. I did make an effort on that, but my hair's a little scraggly. I did not get it washed. I did not shower this morning. I bought this cute new hoodie and I was like, I'm going to wear my cute new hoodie and I'm not going to overthink it. I'm going to be easy in the moment. Do I feel good right now? Yes. The answer is yes. Great. I'm going to go with it. And that's not to say we don't put effort into things. We do, especially things that we care about. But also life comes at you fast, as Ferris Bueller said. And so, just get clear, get present, and roll with it. All right, let's get to our interview today with Céline Remy and Kevin Anthony, which I'm so stoked to share because it is so damn good. And it's quick to get through. It's about 45 minutes and there's so much packed in here. I'm going to recap it a little bit at the end. Stick around for that. And I'm going to bring us an affirmation today too, which I'm stoked about. Can you guess what it is? Maybe so. Let's get to the interview right now. Remember that you can find them at CélineRemy.com or at Céline Remy My Love on Instagram or Facebook. And we will have all those links in the episode notes. So let's do it. Welcome to the Amy Edwards Show. Céline Remy and Kevin Anthony, you guys are experts on relationships and making them work. And I am so thrilled that you've both joined today. Thank you for taking the time to be here. And I just got to give a plug too, that you had me on your Love Lab podcast and people should listen to that because it was really, really fun.
Thank you for having us, Amy. And yes, you were a great guest on our show about having hot sex after divorce. So for sure, tune in.
Yes, for sure. So
it's doing well. People seem to really like that episode.
Oh, good. That's wonderful. Thank you so much again. And so first off, I like to start with a little bit of intentionality. I just feel like so many times we jump into things and, even in our relationships, I think that we jump in and try to do things or try to fix them or try to please our partner or something, and maybe don't tune into ourselves first off and tune into our own intentionality. And so I lit some Palo Santo if somebody's watching on video. And it's just always a cue for me to slow down my breath a little bit and tune in. And so I just wanted to know like what you guys are feeling intention-wise today. And then that my intention is to lift up your voices and raise your message that relationships can be connected, you can bring that passion back and you can connect with your partner, and how beautiful that is. So I just want to share that first and see like intention wise when you come into this, what you're feeling.
Well, we have our own little ritual, so we've already done it. Prayer, like we've got our candle. We always set our intention and kiss and then get on camera. So we do it off camera.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Our intention anytime we go on any.
Oh, I was just going to say that's incredible. Please share all your rituals and your habits, because I think those are so important and people don't see that behind the scenes, So yes, sorry, continue, please.
No problem. Yeah. So, anytime we go on any program or even when we do our own shows, our intention really is to share as much value with people as possible. And that's really always the goal. And if they resonate with our message and they want to come get on our email list or they want to listen to more of our shows or whatever, that's all amazing, and that's part of it too. But we really just want to get that information out there because so many people struggle in this area of life.
Uplift and inspire.
That's so important. It's such a beautiful message. So thank you so much. One of the things I was moved to talk to you guys about today is this, and it's part of my message in the opening today, is this thought of hard work. And in my own life, just in work in general, I've been telling myself work easy, work easier, work smarter, work more efficiently, but just get clearer. And the more I meditate and the more I tap into myself, the more I am in tune with working easier. And when I think of relationships, I've been married twice, and I feel like so many people just always love that fucking little refrain. Oh, it's such hard work. Marriage is hard work. It's hard, And I would like to see how you guys feel about that phrase. And can we dispel that myth, if you consider it to be a myth as well? Like, can you work easy? Can you change? Can it be easy, the relationships?
Well, yes, to start, absolutely, it can be easy. Is it hard sometimes? Yes. If it's hard all the time, you should probably be questioning whether or not you're in the right relationship. It depends also how you define work, right? Because in a relationship, it is something that's living, which means that it will take effort. It will take effort. You need to nurture it. Just like you have a plant growing in your house, you're going to have to give it water, right? You're going to have to make sure it gets enough sunlight. There are things that you're going to have to do, maybe some fertilizer from time to time. There are things that you're going to have to do in order to keep it vibrant and healthy and alive. But do you consider those things work, or do you consider them fun and play, right? So for us, we do a lot of that stuff, but we consider it fun and play. For me, it's fun to do things that nurture our relationship, and it's not necessarily work. Now, that doesn't mean that sometimes there isn't work involved. Sometimes maybe if you have mismatched communication styles, you might have to work a little bit more at communicating effectively, which means you might have to employ some strategies. You might have to find ways to be heard and to listen that maybe in other relationships you didn't have to do. But in general, it is my opinion, and I know Céline feels the same, and she can talk from her perspective in a minute. But in general, your relationship shouldn't feel like you got another job.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Céline, I want to get your take on that too.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, like it's about that mindset shift. And I love that, you can even words have so much power. So if you're just constantly saying it's hard work, I mean, you're planting that seed. And I like that, it can be work, but you can say, oh, hey, it's a challenge. I'm going to employ new strategies. I'm going to find some fun ways to figure this out. Right.
Totally. I actually like to reframe it because I say it's fine to work on your business, you work on your strategy plans, but you don't work on your relationship because it's all about the mindset and it's placing attention and effort and you choose to be in a relationship. So choose well and choose things that make you happy.
100%. I mean, I've had to shift my own mindset in relationship to choosing it every day and finding, someone that chooses me. And so do you view that as a practice too? Like that's part of the practice, right? Of the living thing. Wouldn't it be?
Even though we're married and we've committed to each other, it's still a practice that we choose every day to be with each other. And we're choosing every day to bring out the best in each other. So when I wake up in the morning, I like to call Kevin sunshine or like love, like start to shower him with love. Then of course I massage his testicles too, because it's good, healthy things to do for him. But
I'm a lucky man.
No question you are. Tell me, okay, I want to know what a morning looks like for you guys. Like every day. Like what does a morning look like and what does your evening look like and what other rituals do you have sprinkled throughout the day?
Okay, so I'm going to start with the morning and maybe you can do the evenings. So we wake up. I'm usually the one who wakes up early and then I kind of wait. And then we always snuggle. We have 3 different positions that we go through. Little spoon for me first. Then I do big spoon on him. And then there's kind of one that I half jump on him to kind of like get really close. Then we get up, we get dressed. We have some...
We go for a walk.
We go for a walk around the neighborhood, about like 20 minutes or so, half hour. Then we come home. We have some warm lemon water. Then we work out.
Then we work out in the home gym. Yes.
Then we meditate for 20 minutes. And then finally,
then breakfast.
We go to breakfast.
Then shower. Then get in the office. That's the morning routine.
I love it. Do you have sex every morning?
So,
do you have sex?
We don't have sex every morning, no.
I wish we had time for sex every morning.
I don't know. I thought it might be scheduled in there or something like that. I wasn't sure.
Well, see, the thing for us is Céline is definitely more of a morning person than an evening person. And so for us, like a lot of the things we do, like our workouts and all those kinds of things, a lot of people do those after work, right? So first thing in the morning, they get up, they have their coffee, they go straight to work. And then after work, they'll go do all of that other stuff. We tend to like to do that stuff kind of early in the morning. So we get our meditation and our physical workout and all that kind of stuff in. And so unfortunately, there's only so much time in the morning, especially since, our minimum lovemaking is about 30 minutes. That's like a quickie. So we'd need an extra hour probably in the morning if we wanted to schedule that in there. But what we do is we make time for it later on. So that's our sort of morning routine. Because we work together and we also work from home, we also make sure that we take a lunch together every day. So every day we have lunch together, and we're blessed to be in Southern California. So the majority of days we eat outside in the sun. So Céline cooks us a great meal. We sit outside. Honestly, most of the time it's about 30 minutes. It's not super long, but we make it a point to always share that meal together. And then we finish our work day, and then we have the evening. In the evening, of course, we always have dinner together. And then what we do from there, it depends. If it's Tuesday night, it's date night.
Woohoo! Date night. We've had date night on Tuesday night for over 5 years now.
Ever since our first date, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Our first date was on a Tuesday, and we've kept that Tuesday date night every week since then. Mm-hmm. Unless for some reason we have to reschedule it, but we always make it a point to reschedule. We never cancel. So, and of course, date night means that we have basically 2 rules. The first rule is that we do something together. Everybody laughs at that because, well, of course it's date night. But by that, what we mean is we're not sitting there staring at a television screen, right? Where we're just sitting here next to each other. We're actually doing something where we're engaging with each other in some way so that we're giving each other attention, not just sitting next to each other on the couch. And the other rule is that at some point during date night, there should be nakedness.
Yes.
So there's no obligation that it has to lead to sex, but it has to be naked. And it pretty much always ends with sex. I mean, it's very rare that it doesn't. So I actually look forward to Tuesday night because I know I get late.
It's a sure thing on Tuesdays. Yeah, and then, other than that.
No, I want to know what other nights are like too.
Well, so, Tuesday night we say is our date night, but really kind of every night is a form of a date night. We don't have television, so we don't really watch a lot of TV. We might occasionally do a movie here or there, but generally we just like to do things together. So lately we've been doing a lot of like gua sha on each other, which is, like a Chinese form of massage kind of thing. And, we take care of each other. We read books together.
I've been knitting up a storm. We play guitar together, so we play music, and we try to be creative, not just to be in front of like watching things. I mean, we will watch YouTube videos and stuff like this too. But the idea again is because we work on the computer, we need to get back into our bodies and activate our creativity. Because when you're creative, the creative energy is very much linked to your sexual energy. So if you do all these different creativity things, it will keep your libido and your sex drive alive. So in one way, it's fun, it's playful, and you keep that energy going.
Ooh, that's good. I love that it's tied to your sexuality. I want to back up to one thing that you guys do together that's new for me with a partner, but I feel like it's adding so much to our relationship, and I want to know what it's like for you guys. When you said meditate together, like I've always heard stories of like, I grew up pretty religious. And so I heard stories of like couples that pray together and stuff. And I was like, ugh, that sounds terrible. I don't know why. It just didn't sound appealing to me in any way. But now I have a partner and we are meditating together like every day, sometimes in other times of day. And we'll take that time and really connect with our heart spaces and really like have meditative moments. Sometimes like today, we just sat in the same room, and other times he'll sit behind me. Sometimes we'll connect our hearts, but sometimes we'll just be there together. And so it's really bringing a lot of heart connection and a lot of heart opening. And I'm just surprised because it feels really in flow for me in this relationship. And I'm like, God, I never thought we would do this. And I don't know if you'd call it praying or not, what we do, but we definitely connect to a source energy and like a higher power. And we consciously do that together, and we'll say things and, work on manifesting or whatever it is that we're working on. So I just wanted to share what mine looks like and find out what yours is so I can, make mine better too. And everybody can. So what does that mean for you guys?
Well, we do more a style like that's called transcendental meditation. So we just sit next to each other in silence for 20 minutes and just have a timer and do our own thing. But it's really nice to be sitting. We kind of slightly touch and we're in our own space there. So for the morning meditation, it's just 20 minutes silence. We each go in. And sometimes we'll share if we had insight or something that came up. But if we want to do something where we have more of a guided experience, whether we want to breathe together or sync our hearts or set an intention or create sex magic, then we do this outside of the morning meditation. We do a time that's dedicated for that. I tend to be the one who's more, I'd say like creative, who comes up with a lot of these things. So usually I'm the one who's like, okay, let's do this. And Kevin's like, okay, cool. Yeah, let's do it this way. So I instigate the ceremony or whatever you want to call this that we do together. But that would come more at a different time, especially when it's not the morning, because again, then we don't have to put a time limit to it. If we want to be into it for an hour, fine. If it's going to last 5 minutes, fine. But we're in no rush because work has been done and now we can connect and just be in the moment.
Beautiful. I have two questions with what you just said. One, we have to talk about sex magic before we go. Two, and so we'll save that. Two, it's cool that you say I'm the one that, brings those ideas or whatever it is. And I know you guys have a really balanced relationship, but what do you tell people? Because I know like in my last marriage, I felt like it was not balanced. Like I was the one filling the cup. And, so many times you're like, what am I receiving? Or, you want someone who fills your cup like you fill theirs. Right. And, what do you tell people when they feel like they're the one, maybe with the ideas, they're the one that's sharing the podcast, they're the one that's looking to be more creative and maybe their partner's not as engaged? Like, what do you do? And I know I've been in that situation. So I'm really curious because somebody can be forgetful too in their relationship, and they can just maybe have a little time period where they're more into their work or just a little tuned out. So how do you bring that back? How do you do that? How do you reconnect?
There's two things I would say about that. The first one is most people, when they say, well, I'm the one that always initiates, especially if we're talking about sex, right? Mm-hmm. I'm the one that I'm not going to initiate anymore because I'm the one that always initiates it, right? So then they sit there and I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it until he does it. That's it. That's it. I'm just going to wait, right? But then what happens, right? He doesn't do it. She gets resentful. Then she puts that resentment back on him. Then he gets all angry and annoyed. And right, what did you do then? You created a situation that was worse than what you had before. So the first thing I would say is that if in your relationship, you are the one that's always initiating or you are the one that's always coming up with the ideas, just remember that at least something is happening. Things are happening. Yes, you're the one that has to come up with it, and that may sometimes feel like a burden, but at least something is happening and you guys are doing stuff. Second thing I would say is you need to inquire and find out, why is it that the other person isn't participating as much? Because most likely they want to. There's probably just something in the way. So the question is, what's in the way? Are they overly stressed from work? Do they not know what to do? And maybe they just need some prompting. Like the perfect example is when we first got together, Céline said, I'm going to make you a romantic list. So she's like, I'm going to make you a list of all the things that I think would be really romantic that you could do. And she literally made a Google Doc out of it. And she's just sent it to me. And she's like, if you're ever wanting to, like, you can't come up with an idea for something to do, here's the list, right? So the reality is that most times somebody wants to be able to contribute, but there's something in the way and preventing them from doing it. So then you got to have really frank conversations and come up with creative solutions to figure out how to remove those blocks and get them in the game.
Oh my God, I love lists. That's such a great idea. So yeah. Oh, do you still reference that list, Kevin?
I haven't in a long time, but I've gotten a lot better, so I don't really need to.
Yeah. Oh man, I love that.
It's still there though.
You know what? I think we sell lists a little bit short sometimes. Like it helps. Like, cause I think I talked about this on you guys. I can't remember, but, I made a list of like my dream person, the person I was manifesting, but then I made a list of like the person I wanted to be that person would be with. And so that's what I worked on. And, now I find that like things are better than the list. Like, and so I don't know, I'm a big proponent of putting it down in writing, like whatever it is. And just the act, I think manifests it more. Like if somebody like is like, well, I feel like nothing's being done on his end. Well, then make the list just by writing it down and just by putting something consciously out there. That's a tangible act and something that you can you can look at and focus on, and it'll start to manifest in your life. Do you agree with that? Yeah.
Absolutely. And I want to remind a few things. For the masculine, they like clear, concise, direct. They want the manual. Us women, we are more complicated and we don't always even know what we want. And trust me, if you just give him the manual, men love making us happy. They love this shit. Just give it to them, make it easy, and then receive it because it works. You just need to be clear, concise, and direct. The other thing to remember is when it comes to the relationship, everybody has gifts. My gifts is in that creativity of initiating our rituals and making ceremonies, but Kevin has other gifts. And so I don't expect him to do the things that I do best. I look at what are the things that he does best that I can rely on him. And then I sit back and let him take the lead. So I'm not expecting him to do everything that I do. So he's the keeper of other things in our relationship that he does better than me, or has, like, he's the extrovert, I'm the introvert. So when we go to parties, he's always the one who talks, who connects with people first. So I just sit back and I smile and I'm okay until I feel comfortable and then jump in. And so that's his role there that he does much better in our relationship because we're comfortable. That's my role to initiate some of those games that we play just because it's easy for me and natural. And then you got to remember that it doesn't have to be equal in everything that you do. As long as you put the same amount of energy, it doesn't have to be the same act in itself. And if you can remember that, then your relationship will become so much more fun and playful and easier.
Ooh, I loved that. I got chills. That is so well put. And there's so much in there. So I can't wait to like share that with the world. So beautiful. And, you talked some about rituals too. I still want to touch on that sex magic. Damn, there was something else in there that, that I was hoping to say. Oh, I think it was about like divine feminine and masculine too. And I kind of wanted to touch on how you see those roles. And that probably, flows from what you just said about what you're good at and what he's good at and the expectations there. So I don't know what the question is exactly. Maybe something along the lines of expectations and masculine and feminine roles. Do you have any thoughts on that? Either of you?
Yeah, well, we talk actually a lot about, what we would call polarity when it comes to masculine and feminine roles. And so all that's really important to have a really successful relationship is that you have that polarity, that one of the two people is more in the feminine role and the other one's more in the masculine role. And in today's world, it doesn't necessarily even have to be the man being in the masculine and the woman being in the feminine, although that's the most common. But you just have to have that polarity. You have to have that because when people say opposites attract, it doesn't mean that two people who have completely different lifestyles are a perfect match. No, we're really talking about polarity. We're talking about if you take two magnets and you try to put the same poles together, what do? They push each other apart. You flip it around, they stick together, right? So it's opposite polarity. And that's what we're really talking about. So you need that feminine masculine dynamic to really hold you together into that relationship. And so one of the things that we help people with when coaching is really developing that, because in today's modern world, that polarity has really, really, really gone away. There's so much pressure from society to destroy that polarity, to make everybody equal and the same. And in a sense, yes, we're equal when it comes to, the law or jobs or pay or all of that. But there are very obvious differences between men and women, and trying to make us all behave the exact same way is lunacy, honestly. So embracing the fact that we are different and that we have those different roles will actually make for hotter, sexier, better, longer lasting relationships.
I love that. And yeah, I think that, we could get confused with wholeness, and thinking that to be whole, I have to be all these things, when actually to be whole, you just have to wholly love yourself for who you are, right? Do you think that? I think that gets a little bit mixed up sometimes. And you know what? Actually, since I said that, like, what about, remaining whole within yourself when you're in a relationship? Like, how do you not get too, like, my better half type of thing, like remaining whole in your relationship? How do you guys see that?
We're going to do the inner work. So if you come into the relationship where you're feeling broken or like you have and that you need somebody to complete you, that relationship is never going to work in the long term and be fulfilling. So you have to come into a relationship from a place of feeling complete within yourself. And if you do that, then you're going to be into a much more fulfilling relationship. So it's important to keep your individuality and your sense of sovereignty. And at the same time, you're also cultivating a relationship together. So basically in a relationship, you have three individuals. You have your own self, your partner, and the relationship in itself. And you need to feed each part of that relationship and give attention to all of these parts. And you also need to understand that you got to take care of yourself, take care of your own needs. And you can't depend on your partner to do that and fulfill everything for you. Sometimes they'll be there. Sometimes they're willing to do that. But sometimes it's just good to take care of things for yourself too. If you need some downtime, especially if you're a woman, we have to-do lists. We constantly like taking care of everybody. Sometimes you just need to say, I'm going to take care of myself, and tell your partner, I'm going to take a bubble bath. I'm going to masturbate. I don't Kevin that. I'm like, I'm in the bedroom. I'm going to masturbate. Please don't come in if I'm not in the mood. Sometimes I'm like, I'm going to be upstairs and I'm going to be masturbating. Wink, wink. Like, come anytime you want. Ha ha. No pun intended.
Yeah, and I would add to that any relationship that forces you or requires you to give up essential parts of who you are isn't the right relationship. So, I mean, anything, if you're into music and your relationship is like, well, now that you're in a relationship, you're not going to be playing music with the band anymore. That's not the right relationship for you. If they're forcing you to give up parts of who you are in order to be in that relationship, that's not the right one.
Yes, so true. Okay, so since you mentioned sex too, I want to go back to that. And thank you, Kevin, for that. And what both of you said about that. I've been on that path myself, and I found it to be just life altering, just on that path of living my own life and just trust, that immense trust that falls into that, it's not knowing when it's not the right thing for you because you're not living up to your truth, right? And your passion and your purpose. So since you talked about sex, I want to talk about that too. So a couple of things. One, I know you guys have had a lot of transform. Oh, good sex, yeah. So you touched on practical ways to transform your sex life. So please tell me, give me practical ways all the time, which we've already touched on some. You talked about creativity and what that can bring, but what about actual sex tips, practical sex tips?
Okay, maybe we'll go back and forth.
Okay.
I'll go the
first
good.
One. Yeah.
First one is absolutely schedule a date night. And I know everybody's, but it's not sexy if it's not spontaneous. Wrong. Because what happens is life is busy. Life is really busy. And if you don't put it on the calendar, it doesn't happen. And then you go a week, then you go 2 weeks, and you're like, oh, wow, we haven't actually made time for sex, right? So make time for it. Schedule a date night. Make sure that there is space created in your busy lifestyle for sex.
Number 2, stop being so focused on the destination and focus on the journey, on what you guys are creating. So most couples are like, I'm going to get to that orgasm, whether it's for him or for her. And sex is all about the ejaculation. It ends when he ejaculates. And if you start to transform how you view sex, that sex can be a place to create connection, intimacy, health, wealth, happiness, so many things. And that through the act of lovemaking, you are cultivating this. And it's not about how many orgasms or how many sex positions you're going to try, but it's about how much love can we make right now. And often we set an intention before we make love, because that's what it is. And it's like, if all you do is we're just going to create more love into this world, because we know this world needs more of it anyway. So we imagine that when we create this, it's not just for us and yes, the pleasure that it brings, but that it can ripple into the neighborhood, into the village, into the city, into the world that you live on.
That's some sex magic right there.
Yeah, I got another one.
Good. Mm-hmm. What is it?
Well, another one is to maintain what we call a constant state of arousal. And so, one of the biggest things that we can really help people with is people think that okay, life is over here and sex life is over here, and they don't really go together. Like, in other words, when it's, time to take care of the kids or be around the house, we're doing that. And then we have the time over here for sex. And the reality is that sex is such a core part of who we all are that it should be part of your life all the time, every day, day in and day out, even when you're doing mundane things. And so what that allows you to do is, rather than saying, okay, we've got our date night scheduled, we've not thought about or done anything sensual, sexual with each other at all week long. Now we show up to date night and we got to go from 0 turned on to 100% turned on. How do we do that? How do we get there, right? Whereas if you're maintaining a constant state of arousal, you're maybe going from 40% to 100%, because all throughout the day, you're doing little things. You're kissing each other, you're hugging, you're giving each other little massages. Maybe you're saying little sexy things throughout the day. Like, pretty much, I don't walk past her without grabbing her butt. And she likes it. Now, if your woman doesn't like you to grab her butt, then that's probably not the thing to do. But find out what she does like and do those little things all the time. Tell her she looks beautiful in what she's wearing, right? Grab her butt if she likes that, Give her a little massage.
Mm-hmm.
Worship his cock.
Right?
Yes. Crucial. So also, I love that you said an intention before sex. That's never even occurred to me. I don't know why it hasn't. What do those look like? What'd you do the last time you had sex? Did you set an intention? What was it?
Well, it really depends. So let's say sometimes it could be very basic. Sometimes we want to have more clients or more money in the bank account. So we focus on something and attracting this energy, and either focus on the number of sales or whatever. So it could be very business oriented.
Or not.
Sometimes one of us is not feeling so good and we're like, let's increase our health, let's make love to remove the headache or increase our vitality. Sometimes the world is really going crazy and we just need to make love to feel sane. So we work on that. Sometimes we just want to have an intention to be beyond just us. We're not just about our own selfish desires. And it's like, may we have more peace and love in the world. So it really depends on where we stand. They can be really small things. They can be very specific, or they can be more broad.
So what we're really talking about right now is sex magic.
Mm-hmm.
So you said you wanted to talk a little bit more about that. So what exactly do we mean by that? And basically, if you think about what we would call energy or life force energy or prana or chi or jing or universal energy, spiritual energy, and there's a million names that it goes by, but there's really only one energy that flows through us. And that energy is the same energy we use for anything creative that we do. So you're a musician and you write a song, like, where did that come from? It comes from that creative energy. If you have a child, where does it come from? It comes from that creative energy. That creative energy that's within us can be harnessed and used for all sorts of things. Sex is a great way to move that energy, to get that creative energy moving through your entire body, especially if you focus on moving the energy. So when we're talking about sex magic, what we're really talking about is we are talking about setting an intention, something we want to create in the world, and then using the act of sex to move that creative energy towards what we want to create in the world.
And when you get closer to an orgasm or an orgasmic waves, when you get really high, you send that energy towards that goal. So if you have a very long goal, so we're going to give you a story. Before we moved in together, we were each in our own house, and then we were looking for a very specific place we wanted to move in. So we created a list, and it had I think a dozen things. Were very specific about what we wanted to find in the house. And it wasn't that easy. It was like, we really needed specific things. So what we started to do was we wrote all of this down on the list. We put this on that place that we call our special altar, or place that felt good. And basically when we would make love, we would send that energy towards that list. So you don't have to think about the dozen things that are on the list. You could summarize it into one word, like the home or the list, or put the list right there. And sometimes look at it or touch it with your hands while you feel like that sexual energy. And if you do experience an orgasm, rather than getting lost into it, like you could look into each other's eyes and both say, home, or keep that intentionality in your head as you are experiencing your orgasm.
I think a lot of people probably have hangups around that. I took a sex magic workshop when I was in Sedona recently, and one girl was like, "It seems so wrong to think about money when you're like, about to have an orgasm, or when you're masturbating or whatever." And I was like, "Well, I've been doing it for months." And yeah, I was doing it on my own, but I think with a partner too, it can feel really vulnerable, right? It feels like I don't know. What do you tell people for getting over that hump of feeling weird about it?
Okay, so there's two things. The first thing is if it's with a partner, you set the intention together, right? So you agree beforehand that you're going to set. It's not like you're having sex and all of a sudden you're like, "Oh," right? And they're like, "What the hell was that?" Right? $1,000. It's something that you've agreed upon to set as your intention. So you're both on board with this one, right? And the second thing is, the way that I've always used it is we'll sit down beforehand and we'll set the intention in the beginning. So we'll speak it out loud and we'll talk about what it is we want to create. But then we kind of let it go and we just focus on the lovemaking. And maybe a few times throughout lovemaking, I'll just bring it back into my head. Oh, yeah, that's right. We set an intention for this. And then I'll just let it go again and focus on what I'm doing. And so the idea is don't get hung up on having your mind always thinking about the intention or having to say a certain thing, or I got to say it 3 times for this or 5 times, because people get caught up in that kind of stuff with ritual. Like, just let it go. Anytime you learn anything about manifesting, what do they tell you? They tell you to set an intention, to let go of that intention, give it up to universe, spirit, creator, whatever you want to call it, right? And then, of course, take action steps towards that intention. But the idea is we'll set the intention and then we kind of let it go. And then maybe we'll just bring it back in our minds a few times throughout the process.
Yeah. It's detaching from outcome. Right. And I love, we talked about this, before on the other podcast, that whole journey part of it too. And just being really present in the moment and not focusing on having an orgasm or finishing or whatever. The end is like really enjoying the entire thing. And that's going to keep you more present and keep you more manifesting and putting that energy out there in it. So beautiful. Well, you guys, I know in one of the things, we're getting fairly close on time. So you said that you've had many transformative experiences in your own relationship and in your lives together. So I wanted to touch on that, or maybe there's a couple that come up that you want to share. What have been some of the most transformative things that have come up for you guys?
Good question.
I'm going to put you on the spot.
I know.
And I'm like,
and it was
transformative.
It was it was around, bringing out the best in each other's. And like, I just know that, you've still got some in progress and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Ultimately for me in this relationship, what I do see is to be fully accepted for who I am. So it's to being able to be who I am, and I don't have to hide any parts. And sometimes in other relationship, you hold back because you're thinking, oh, my partner is not going to like that, or maybe I shouldn't be this way. But that experience of being fully unconditionally loved and accepted has probably been one of the most transformative, because then it pushes me into thinking, who else can I be? How much better can it become? And there's no limitations. And so having that ability and that container that Kevin has brought, whether it's in our lovemaking, whether it's in our, evolution of the relationship, that it doesn't matter what it looks like, that it is all good with how I am, and that he's going to celebrate this every minute and support me in reaching my goal. That probably would be the most transformative one.
That's so beautiful. And I completely agree with that. And I know that as a relationship grows, that's an intimacy and a place that develops. And I've been working on that in my own life and relationship, and really allowing that, because it's a little scary. There's a security that that is within that. And, the insecureness of like, will they like this, or am I doing something wrong, or are they going to run away? All those things. But that's a process of transforming ourselves into that space of trust and just knowing that you're where you're supposed to be. And if you're really trusting who you are, then you put it out there. Kevin, do you have one?
Yeah, actually, what I was going to share is very similar to what you were just talking about, which is that, when Céline and I knew each other for a number of years before we got together. And while we always had chemistry and attraction, we actually both thought that both of us were totally like not alike and probably would never make great partners. That's literally what we thought from what we knew about each other being in similar circles. And so, when we got together, obviously there was real serious chemistry and we could see that there was stuff there, but there were things that I was still holding back because I was like, she's not going to like that part of who I am because that's not who she is, right? And so what was very interesting and transformative is that what I realized throughout the relationship is the more I put that stuff out there, the more I showed her who I really was and all the parts that I thought she wasn't really going to like all that much, the more accepted I was and the more she really liked that. There were so many little things where like, I don't know, maybe this is even a stupid example, but like, I like this particular movie genre. It's like an action movie genre. You're a woman. You're not going to want to like to watch that. And she's like, I love those movies. And I'm like, what? Really? So many things like that I really realized that it's so important right from the get-go to put all of that stuff out there because one, you're either going to find what we found, which is that, wow, there's way more compatibility here than we realized. Or two, you're very quickly going to realize that this isn't the right relationship or person for you because they're not accepting you for all the parts that you are. So to me, that was a pretty transformative thing of being able to put all of that stuff right out there and go, oh, you mean you like that? That's cool.
Does that help you love yourself more? It does, right?
Yeah, it certainly could. Yeah, I never really struggled so much with loving myself. I more struggled with how other people would love me, right? Like I feel fine by myself, but my and not even so much other people, but my partner in particular. It was more like, well, I know that I'm a good person and I like who I am, but will they is kind of the part where I struggled more. But it depends on the person.
It does. It does. I can understand that. Well, we're getting close on time. So is there anything else that we haven't touched on that you guys really feel called to share today? Anything about transformation, anything about sex, anything at all that that you would like to share before we go?
Remember that sex is natural, beautiful, and healing. So just embrace who you are and find somebody at some point where you can share that with too. But if you don't have somebody, start with yourself and create that relationship and that foundation so that when you meet somebody, your standards will be higher. And then you can create a better relationship and a better world, better families, and be an example for all the ones around you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll add to that. I'm going to bring us back full circle, which is that it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be a struggle. Relationships are not all about shadow work and getting in there and slogging through the crap and the mud. Sometimes that's necessary and sometimes it's not. Relationships can be fun. They can be light. They can be loving. They can be sexy. They can literally make your life better rather than taking you down.
So well put. Yes, I could not agree more. And I'm just incredibly grateful that you guys were here today. Thank you so much. And thanks for working. I know we had a little bit of a delay on the Zoom, so I just wanted to say thank you for working with that and everything. So just that's the way of the world these days. And we all keep working through it and we make it work, just like a relationship. We all just make it work. And it is so beautiful to learn from you guys. You hold so much wisdom and power. And I really admire you and the model of your relationship. You are walking the walk of, and I actually feel a little choked up right now. Like you are really walking the walk of what you put out there. And what a beautiful thing to put in the world. And I just really believe in that. And so I just want to say thank you so much for you guys. And please share really quick before we go, all the ways people can find you and what you offer to them. You can do a better job than I can. And we will put all the links in the episode description too. So anybody can go and click on everything and find you guys. So please share with that.
The main link is to go to CelineRemy.com. It has everything that we do, from the Love Lab podcast that is on every platform where you can find podcasts. We have online courses, sexual mastery for men. And then we are on Instagram at Céline Remy Love, on YouTube through Céline Remy. So yeah, go to CelineRemy.com and you'll find everything there.
Yeah, and make sure to sign up for our Sex Vault, our Passion Vault, which has all of the free stuff that we've created over the years. So exclusive free content. And the thing is, if you get on the list, then we let you know every time we release a podcast or a cool interview like we're doing with you. So if you want more of us, that's the way to make sure that you can get it.
Ah, beautiful. I'm signing up. I haven't signed up for that. I need all that free stuff. I'm so excited because I got so many tips today and I'm just so grateful. So thank you so much, Céline and Kevin. I'm just so grateful. And I encourage people to check you out everywhere and follow you and sign up for all your amazingness and wisdom that you're sharing with the world. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Amy, for having us. It was a pleasure today.
Yeah, great to talk to you. And thanks for having us on.
Oh, huge thanks. Huge thanks to Céline and Kevin. Man, I absolutely loved that interview. And I'm so excited to lift up the voices and the messages of such incredibly awesome people that there are in the world. You know, when you have a moment of like down, like, I don't know, maybe you're looking at Twitter or something like that, and you're feeling down, remember that there are people that are sharing their message and doing an amazing job of it. And excuse me, allow yourself to be inspired by that and know that yours matters. Yours matters. That's why we're here. We're about transforming life and getting yours stronger all the time, and your unique perspective and your unique voice. And it matters big time. And I've had to do a lot of self-love work to trust that about myself. But damn, do I believe it about every single person. Sure do. So big thanks to them. Remember that you can find them at CelineRemy.com or on the socials on Instagram, I believe Pinterest too, and Facebook at Céline Remy My Love. So thanks again to them, CelineRemy.com, Céline and Kevin Anthony. And, they had so much goodness in there. You can damn well bet that Miss List over here is going to make a romance list. And I will be following up. I will let you know how that goes because I'm going to do it. I'm going to provide a manual about things I like. So the other takeaway that I really want to implement in my own life is that date night. And I just wanted to tag onto that and say, even if you make a date night with yourself, I think that matters. Like have sex with yourself, schedule it, look forward to it, buy yourself something sexy to wear. Why not? Love yourself. I've done that. I've actually, sorry, Colton, sometimes, I'm just sharing these things. They're going out on the airwaves, but there's also someone in the room with me. So it makes you feel a little bit like, I don't know, whatever, like you're not alone. Anyway, I have done it. I have put on something sexy for myself before. So, and you masturbate and you like go with it. So why not? Right? Why not? If you don't have a partner, go ahead and enjoy a date night. And who knows what might manifest in your life? It might be a big experiment, which is really fucking cool. I want to share an affirmation today. So yeah, as I've mentioned too, I'm starting to put out meditations that you can download too. So be sure and subscribe because those will be like interim content here on the podcast network and on my show. And one of the things I feel called to share today is I follow someone named Susie Moore. I actually interviewed her on my old show, Rocking Life with Amy. And so it's still available somewhere. And Susie, it has a mantra that she says, and I really like it since what we were talking about with Reiki. And I'm saying, just for today, I will work easy. And she says, let it be easy. So what if you wrote that on a Post-it note? Let it be easy. We might be just like channeling that. You might be calling it in to be easy. Because if you're saying, man, I have a day of hard work ahead of me. Well, guess what you just did, right? You set the stage and you set your mindset for it. So what if we just say, let it be easy? Like I may just put a Post-it note here in the studio that says, let it be easy. Because why not? Why can't we all let it be easy? Why can't we? Why can't we? We can. We can. I'm totally a believer. So I wish I got to get some Post-it notes in here so I can start writing things down. Can we make a note of that? Thanks. So yeah, I'm going to have Post-it notes in here. So let it be easy. That is a beautiful thing. I really, really feel that. So I want to say a huge thank you for being here and for supporting this show, for subscribing. If you can find the time to rate, review, even just throw 5 stars on there, it totally matters. And also, if something in here spoke to you, or you know somebody who's struggling in a relationship, or just any little bit made you think of a friend, please share it with them. That's a big deal. It really, really matters. So thank you again from the bottom of my heart. Also, let's see, last bits of news. You can sign up for my newsletter and you can find me at amyedwards.com. You can find me on the socials at Real Amy Edwards. And I am going to work on having more free content too on my website, and just a newsletter that just like comes from my heart about each of these episodes and, how they shake out for me. And I'll share those affirmations each time too. Why not? What else do I need to tell you? I said share, write to me too. So write to me at amyedwards.com if you have thoughts or just want to draw something to my attention, because I'm hoping to get feedback from you. And it's great on my Instagram, but sometimes I miss those messages. So email is a little bit more effective there. And Hot Pie Media too has tons of great content streaming all the time. I like to highlight a different show on these episodes. And right now I'm going to talk about Gray Area Podcast. It's infotainment. It's with Chad and Aaron, who I have met, and they are so funny and engaging, and it's blowing up already. So I encourage you to check out that podcast as well. It's called The Gray Area. I love you. I love you so much. And I'm just so stoked to be intentional about these and to keep putting these out and to have this opportunity to connect with you and hopefully use my voice to raise yours and transform your life into that shiny, shiny, shiny version that's sparkling all over the place. You're just emitting light everywhere you go. And I know it's not always like that. I know we have darknesses and dark moments, but those will get shorter and shorter. The more we work at it, and the more we practice it, and the more we build up these habits. So go easy on yourself right now. Remember, let it be easy. And so much just peace, health, wealth, love, abundance, joy, all the good things. Keep putting them out there, and I'm putting them out there to you and yours. Until next time.
Thanks for listening. You can find more episodes and all other Hot Pie Media originals baked fresh daily at our home on the web at hotpiemedia.com, the Hot Pie Media YouTube channel, or wherever you listen to podcasts.